Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Home Buyer Hotspot Show. I'm so glad that you're hanging out with me and Amy today because we're diving into a topic that every real estate agent, brand new or seasoned, needs to hear. Choosing the right brokerage can literally make or break your career. The support you get, the culture you step into, the mentorship, and the systems, all of that determines whether you thrive or you struggle. And today I've got my friend Amy, who knows this world inside and out. Amy Dumas, Vice President and Managing Broker of Watson Real Estate Corporation, right here in beautiful Palm Coast, Florida. Amy has built a reputation for developing agents, creating a healthy culture, and actually showing up for her team, not just signing a contract and then disappearing. Trust me, I see that a lot. So if you're wondering, am I at the right brokerage or what should I even look for? You're in the right place. By the end of this episode, you're going to know exactly what red flags to avoid, what green flags to chase, and what questions you must ask before joining any brokerage. And hey, before we jump into all that, make sure that you hit that follow, that like, the subscribe, depending on where you're listening to this. It helps my show reach more agents who need this kind of insight. Amy, I am so excited to have you here today. You've been in this business for years. You've coached agents. You've built a brokerage, and you've seen everything from brand new agents walking in terrified to seasoned agents realizing they outgrew their old environment. Thanks for joining me. And please tell my listeners how to contact you.
Yes, you can reach me at Amy, A-M-Y, Dumas, D-U-M-A-S, at Watson Realty Corp, C-O-R-P.com, or you can just send me a text or give me a call.
Awesome. Thank you so very much. I'm so happy to have you here on the show. So let's start with a big question. Why do you think so many agents end up at the wrong brokerage in the first place? What happens?
Well, they chase the highest split, but
Okay.
sacrifice support and the leads that they can potentially get. They
Okay.
don't know what questions to ask. They underestimate culture and mentorship, and they assume every brokerage actually trains agents.
Yeah.
And I want to give a little bit of my background to why I fit that mold of being the right broker.
Yeah.
I did spend 25 years in hospitality before stepping into this role. Actually, before switching from hospitality with a career in with Marriott International to
Oh, wow.
Watson Realty Corp. And it's the service and people first culture is what really drove me to Watson Realty.
Okay.
It's really how I've always operated. And I really believe agents deserve a broker who is present, who
Yes.
listens, and who develops them, not just someone they only see, like you said, one contract at a time.
I agree. You have no idea how many new agents I end up with helping them write their first contract or two. And I'm not a licensed agent. And that's I tell them, you really should contact your broker. And I've had agents literally tell me, I've tried, I've texted, I've called, and my broker's just not calling me back. And I don't know what to do. I need to get this offer in.
That's awful. And especially when it's kind of the deer in the headlights and what mistakes can I potentially make? I mean, it shouldn't be trial and error. They really need a good support system.
I 100% agree. 100% agree. So when an agent is brand new, they often don't even know what questions to ask. From your experience, what are the first three things they should be paying attention to as they're interviewing where they want to work?
Well, they should ask these questions. Who is actually training me? I mean, is it the broker? Are there other seasoned agents in the office who are willing to help and who they can ask questions? Is the broker accessible daily and who's reviewing my contracts? Do you have systems that I can plug into day one? How readily, easily available is it for them to onboard? Can they have access quickly to what they need to help their
huge.
customers?
That's so huge. I know so many agents have been like, yeah, I'm new at XYZ, but I don't really know how to have access to anything. So that's good that you offer that.
And then they don't know what systems they really need access to or what's going to help them be the most beneficial right off the gate, right? But also, one of the questions they need to ask is, what is the culture when no one is watching? Is it a collaborative or is it competitive? I know
Mhm.
when I started interviewing brokerages, I asked the recruiting agent for Watson, I said, I know this is supposed to be a very competitive business, but what is the company culture there? Can I walk in there and are people hiding what they know and not willing to help me grow my business?
Mhm.
Or is it that they want to help me grow and succeed because overall it'll help the brokerage? And those are the type of questions that you need to ask.
I agree. It's the same in my industry. I have worked at another mortgage company who the culture was not good. It was like the head people yelling and screaming, this needs to be done. And if a
Mhm.
mistake was made, people were berating. Like it was this whole awful environment. And I literally only lasted a month there. And
Oh,
and I
no.
just knew that I needed to find something different. And now where I'm at cross country, I have a big manager who literally 2 to 3 times a week gets on Zoom calls with 10, 15 of us, those who want coaching, and coach us and give us his tips and tricks as to why he has been so successful in the last 20 years that he's been in the business. So you're right, that's very important. So there's so many different brokerage models. So when I talk to agents, so there's the boutique, there's the franchise, there's the virtual, which kind of surprises me, but there's a virtual one. There's a high split, a low split, team based. Can you break down the key differences between all of these different types of choices in a way that helps a new agent actually understand the pros and cons?
Well, people get into real estate for different reasons, right?
Hmm.
It's not a one fit type of a career. So, a virtual model will work best when you need high splits, that flexibility. But the con on that side is that you will feel alone. There
Yep,
is a slower developmental period.
I would
So,
agree.
maybe for somebody who really wants to kind of learn it all or to find what their niche is, that might not be the right fit for them at the time.
Okay.
And then big box franchises, it's a known name. They have all these tools, but the agents can easily become a number. You're just a commodity. Nobody's
Mhm.
really paying attention to you. There's no accountability. So it just kind of is anything else in life. Just kind of beware of that, getting
And I
lost in
find
the
that
shuffle.
sometimes they end up a little bit more cutthroat, with
Yes.
each other and with leads and stuff. Cause I hear in the background chatter from different agents, because I work with all kinds of different realtors in the state
Mhm.
of in the state of Florida and New York. But there's definitely some difference in culture at those bigger companies,
There are. And then they have these big sales meetings that are in Vegas or wherever, big cities,
which is fun.
again. Yeah.
But how does that really help your business
It
unless
does.
you're going to really learn and grow, at those meetings?
Right. And again, it depends on what your aspirations are. If you are
Mhm.
looking to be globally connected, that might be
Right.
something that you would be looking into. But if
Okay.
you're starting your grassroots and you want to develop your brand and everything else around you more locally or in Florida, it might be something you would consider.
Okay.
But something that's team based, you have built in leads, there's some structure, accountability. Again, that would be somebody that wants to bring you on as part of their team. And
Okay.
then there's a cap on your independence and the brand. So you are limited to whatever that team has put together for you. And
Right,
then you
because you're
have boutiques.
promoting the team, not necessarily yourself as an individual then, correct?
And that's correct.
Okay.
And then a boutique kind of format is personal, community focused,
Mhm,
and you have a smaller marketing footprint.
mhm.
So it is more localized. But if you take the Watson model, kind of looking at all of that, it's
Okay.
60
Where do
years
you
of a
fit in?
legacy. Yeah, it's a 60 years of a legacy. You have personalized leadership. And
Okay.
we have broker meetings every month and we really collaborate with one another, pin
Mm,
ideas off each other. We don't feel like we're stealing ideas. We always put them on emails and things and
good.
we're, borrowing each other's experience and
Mhm.
what we've really put together to really build every brokerage. We're not chasing trends. We build careers. We don't just churn, people to kind of go on to the next thing. But,
Right.
people come and go just like any other business,
Mhm.
but we adapt to that and we just look out for the best talent that's out there.
I love that. I love that. And so in your meetings where you guys collaborate, then people are
Mhm.
actually sharing what happened the last month, how they overcame problems. how they
Yeah.
closed a deal, right? So you're actually getting real information from people.
Yes, and especially, I mean, there was stories about with cryptocurrency, some
Mhm.
situations that happen where I haven't been exposed to that here in my office.
Right.
So it gets me ready for when that happens here. Of
Yeah, which
course,
is important.
yes, yes. We had a lot of vacant land fraud. What were some of the signs that weren't the obvious signs that we weren't already doing to protect ourselves? What are some other things that are happening? So, those are things that we can blast out there to our team. And then I've also blasted it out to our local association, just kind of a beware for our agents and then also for our buyers and sellers. But just know that the most expensive brokerage is the one where you don't succeed and then
Mm.
new agents don't know what they don't know. So they
Oh, yeah.
shop for the wrong things, right? Like I was talking about the questions
Mhm.
to ask. And the flashiest recruiting pitch, which I've been exposed to, and I almost jumped in that way, is it the same as the support you're going to get every day? Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's very true to look at that and maybe even talk to other agents that work in that office just
Yeah.
to see like if you gel with those people. Cause I know that was a big consideration for me after I had a really bad experience when I
Yeah.
moved to Florida. Then when I went to go interview the next place, I really like I wanted to meet people in the office. I wanted to kind of see what their vibe was, if people were friendly, down to earth, or kind of really what was happening in that office. So that's all really good advice. So if
I
you're
always I oh, and I give people when we talk in our off in my office, I'll give them different business cards from other agents, and I'll say, give them a call, ask them what they think it's like, being with Watson Realty.
yeah, but that's good because that means you have nothing to hide, that you're an
Right.
open book and you're willing to allow your current agents that are underneath you to speak and say what's happening because you're confident that, that it's going to be good. That they're happy at Watson. So, everybody out there, if you are enjoying this conversation, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss future episodes packed with practical real estate insight. All right, Amy, let's get back to it. So, let's talk support. This is a big one. Every
Mhm.
broker claims that they offer training. I've laughed at some of the training I've seen, but not all training is created equal. What does real effective training look like? And then we've talked about culture a little bit here, and it's obviously a big buzzword, in I think all business worlds right now. But beyond the motivational posters, what does a healthy brokerage culture actually feel like today for agents? And I got a bunch in here. And what would you say is the biggest green flag to tell agents, yes, that this is the right place for you? Or on the flip side, what are some of the red flags that agents should run as fast as possible from?
Okay, a lot to unpack there, but
A
yes.
lot. Sorry
Let's
about that.
That's okay. Well, let's talk about support. What real training does look like is contract coaching, not
Coaching.
pre-recorded modules. We do
Mhm.
have a learning library and we have
Okay.
I call it the super learning library. We participate in something called Leading RE, Leading Real Estate, and
Okay.
Luxury Portfolio International. So
All
we
right.
have access to a lot of information. There's a lot of information out there, a lot of
Mhm.
trainings, not just counting systems training, because
Yeah.
that's more technically focused.
Yes.
But there's a lot of business coaches out there that are focused on real estate, and that we try to get that all curated together and
Okay.
provide that as an accessory for what they're learning. But really, when it comes to that hands-on training, with it's let's do it. Let's get some
Yeah.
practice, some contracts. I want you to shadow another real estate agent and get that real estate agent to really talk about some of the things that they're doing that they think set themselves kind of apart. Go to open
That's
houses,
really
things like
good.
that.
That's really good because I know when I got into the mortgage
Mhm.
industry up in New York, I had a mentor for an entire year and
Right.
I went everywhere with her. I did everything and after a few months I was inputting her loans for her and even now 10 years 10, 11 years later, 10, 11 years later,
Mhm.
I say things and I'm like, oh my gosh, I sound like Kathy Peach because she was my mentor, and so I think that's a great way, to have that hands on training for people.
Mhm.
Good job.
So it should move agents from not just knowing what they're
Mhm.
supposed to be doing, but doing, right?
Yeah.
Because information without implementation doesn't make you money. And that's the
Mhm.
other part of it. You don't
Mhm.
want to sit there with your headset on and not be making money. You want to
Correct.
be able to practice those things and be ready. I've gone on an agent's first listing appointment with them, just things like that to really help them. And most ultimately, it's about building their confidence
Agreed.
because, you don't know what you don't know, but as you start learning, and I will always take myself back to those first moments or
Mhm.
first months, years when I
Yeah.
was starting in real estate, I tell them, reflect a year ago what you thought where you thought you would be, and think
Yes.
about how much more you know now. And
Yeah.
again, it's to build that confidence.
Agreed,
There's
because that confidence comes through to clients, whether it's a buyer or a
Mhm.
seller. If you really sound like you know what you're doing and you're confident in it, you're more apt to be hired. Whereas if you're kind of fumbling and unsure, obviously the buyer, the seller would pick up on that.
Yeah, and all agents, they really, as a realtor, you have to be curious. You
Hmm.
have to be wanting to learn and to grow. You have to be open-minded. There's so much new technology out there, and we really have to be able to want to embrace it. Doesn't mean we're going to understand it 100% or even
Right.
anything close to it, but as long as we're willing to let that be part of our daily
Mhm.
lives, I think anything with technology or any new systems, I think that's gonna really be something that'll make you successful.
I
But
agree.
let's go
There's
on to culture.
culture. Let's talk about your culture. I've
Well,
I've been in your office and it always feels great when you walk in there. There's stuff
thank
happening
you.
and everybody's involved in all kinds of different things in the community, which that really does impress me about you is I see you everywhere.
Well, I love my community, and what a better way to show your love than to
Yeah.
really roll up your sleeves and get in there.
Yeah.
And so many realtors are out there doing some great,
Mhm.
amazing things. And a lot of them very humble about it, kind of behind the scenes. We try to
Yeah.
get them to be a little bit more visible and bring it out
Yeah.
because we want other people to participate as well, but
Yeah.
also because we want to show that big contributors to volunteering and
Mhm.
all these things that we're doing are realtors. So we celebrate each other's wins and losses, or I shouldn't say we celebrate their losses, but we help them out so that
Yeah.
maybe there's a way to not make that a loss next time.
Correct.
But of course, we're always winning here.
That's right.
But
Watson Realty only wins.
Uh, but as much as I do get out there in the community though, and that visibility though, I'm here for my team. They can call me, text me anytime. And then also we did for our Friendsgiving here, we did a
Mhm.
tree with little ornaments that we drew names. And so if I picked somebody's name, I would write one word that made
Mhm.
me think of that was a good description of that
Mhm.
person. And then so on the front was the name, was the word, whether it was like this person's successful. And then on the
Mhm.
back was the name of the person. So
Love it.
nobody really knew who gave each other those,
Aw,
positive words, but we have that up in our reception desk. So when people
I
ask about it,
love
we can say, this is what our culture is. This is what our teammates think of each other.
So you're kind
So
of a family, like an extended family then, where
yes, we use that word very carefully though, because when you think about when people say that, I think it's used a little too loosely, like
okay.
this is our family. Um,
Yeah, don't be dumping your stuff on my table kind of family. Don't put your feet up on my coffee table. But if you got something going on, I'm here to listen.
right? No, but we can depend on one another, and it does feel good. Feels good to work here. We're not
Mhm.
employees of Watson, right? Well, I am, but
Right.
we're all these independent
Mhm.
contractors. There's no human resources.
Okay.
It's not a corporate environment. But to be able to come in, do our work,
Mhm.
get away from home, because you
Yep.
should have a good office space, which we have a
Mhm.
brick and mortar here
Yeah.
available to someone. Give them a key, they have the access code to come in. You can, do all your things and just, again, be around people who have the same work spirit as you do.
Right. Right. Which is
Yeah.
important. Which is important. So let's
So
go back to that biggest green flag that
yes,
agents should say
yes,
yes
this
to.
is the
So
right
what
place.
what is that?
So you need to ask, will this place help me grow? Where do
Mhm.
I want to be in 12 months? And if the answer is yes,
Mhm.
run toward it. If this is an
Yes.
environment that talks to pain points for the team and the
Mhm.
consumers that are serviced, my team is counting on me and a visionary leadership approach, which is easier with the backing of a company that's been in business for 60 years.
I
So you
agree.
never know when you're going to get into that situation. Of course, you as a realtor, you're going to every transaction you pay, money for your legal defense fund. But
Yeah.
to be proactive in something and say, you know what? I think I might have screwed up, or you know what? I don't know that we really fully service this customer. Mr. Watson has our back, and if we talk through it,
Mhm.
we're gonna be able to make that customer whole again because ultimately we want customers for life. And we
Yes.
want realtors for life. And we want that to be that. Like I said, I talked about brick and mortar. When
Mhm.
people come in, I want to hear them say, I want this to be a business I can pass on to my kids. I
Mhm.
see that so much these legacy businesses throughout
I do too.
Florida. And
Yes.
I would love to be part of that and think about it like, years down the road, go, I remember when they started their business and now their kids are selling real estate.
Yeah,
So
which is
that's
so awesome.
those are some of those things that I look at. But on the flip side though, when we're
Yeah.
thinking about red flags, I've talked all this positivity.
Right. So tell us what they should run from, because I'm sure there's a
Yeah. When you see that, there's a lot of turnover, right? That you might
Okay.
see someone join that real estate brokerage and then leave. There's people that do that. They kind of
Mhm.
get to where they have the right fit. But if you see that constantly, that might be a red flag. If you only see leadership recruiting just via an email or just kind of general, but not really
Oh,
visibly out there recruiting,
yeah.
that might be a red flag. If you hear of any negativity or that everyone is competition mindset, another red flag.
Yeah.
You have to think, this isn't a business that you just want to survive in. You really want to grow and you want to be able to have a plan to say, where am I going to be 2 years from now? Where will I see my business 5 years from now? You
Right.
want to have that plan. And the best support is when you can continuously build your brand.
I would agree. Let's spotlight Watson Realty. What makes you guys different?
We call our winning differences. One, we're
Okay.
celebrating 60 years. It's
Yep.
not a startup experiment. We have
Correct.
37 office networks with 1,400 or more agents. We have hands on managing
Mm.
brokers.
Okay.
We have a strong global reach. Florida attracts international buyers.
Yes.
And we have a number one training reputation in Northeast Florida.
Mhm.
And then our brand consistency and integrity. It's long term stability. So we don't just follow the market. We have helped shape it. And I should say, I don't know if I include myself, but Mr. Watson and everybody, they've helped shape it for 6 decades.
That's so amazing. For 6 decades that Watson
Mhm.
has been around and thriving and in all these different communities in Florida. That's amazing. I love that. And so, what kinds of agents do you think fit into the Watson model the best? What are the agents that you see that you know are going to thrive with your company?
I think those that are driven, that are
Okay.
coachable, that they love service and relationships. I mean, they can tell me that they love to talk to people and
Mhm.
they have all these connections. They might not know the technical part of it. I'm there willing to help them. And as well as too, I have an admin
Mhm.
who I say, let them do the relationship part. Why don't we take care of the paperwork part?
I agree.
Yeah, and we don't if they miss crossing a T or dotting an I, let's take care of that. Let's
Mhm.
let them know just that so they can kind of, again, grow and help grow their business. But but it's not something we're gonna say, hey, you need to come back to the office, you need to sign this, or here, you need to get this other
Right.
email DocuSign. Let's just take care of it, nip it in the bud, let them do what they do best. You bring the work ethic to us, and then
Mhm.
we'll provide the roadmap really when it comes to that. So
That's
that's what.
good though. So if you're somebody who's motivated on your own, I think so many realtors come out of the corporate world. Like I know a
They
lot of
do.
realtors and there's a lot that come out of the corporate world in some capacity. I've got one realtor down south. She comes out of Walmart corporate world, which was so surprising. Like, girlfriend, you were making a lot of money at Walmart. And she's like, yes, but I didn't have the flexibility. And so she took all of that corporate stuff that she knows and put that into real estate. And so I really feel like people who have spent time in the corporate world and have that work ethic, that know that they need to sit down every day and do something. That business doesn't just find us magically out of the sky. That there's work involved in making that happen. So I'm glad that you look for that kind of people. And to be honest, the agents that I know at Watson, they do fit into that bucket, and you can tell,
They
which is
do. And
mhm,
teachers also make excellent realtors
yes.
too. So
Yes,
there's a
because
lot
they
of
know how to
different.
hold hands and walk people through the process, because buying or selling a house is one of the most stressful things you can do, and typically the biggest purchase people ever make.
Mhm.
So there's lots of stress that comes with that. So let's talk a little bit more about mentorship. So what does ongoing support look like in your brokerage?
Well, I meet with people regularly,
Okay.
weekly, and we do some coaching. We have marketing support. So there's always
Okay.
something that's evolving. We're actually curating a lot of more AI technology so that it's less
I love
for our
AI.
administrative support to manage.
Yes.
So they could actually do a lot more of those just kind of hand holding with all the kind of the paper. I just call it paperwork.
It
All the
is.
mundane stuff that a realtor has to deal with, where
Mhm.
they just need to be customer facing.
Yep.
So all they have to do, if there's a piece of paper, it needs to go into a file, 'cause that's got to
Mhm.
be scanned or emailed.
Yeah.
You can just email it directly to me or my
Nice.
assistant, and we
Mhm.
can just put it where it needs to go so that we can check it off the checklist. And again, we're really trying to make everything compliant. So let us deal with the compliancy, also let you know why it needs to be compliant. But at the same time, let's get that out of the way because, again, we want you out there doing your thing
Right.
and building your business. And I also have an open door policy. Actually, I have to put something on my door that says session in progress that I kind of stole from a hotel, but
Yeah.
session in progress so that people know, oh, okay, Amy needs her door closed. But yeah,
Right.
people know that anytime that I'm here, it's a
Mhm.
good time to, build really kind of have questions. I can
Okay.
potentially have the answers, or I can get a resource for them to help them through that process of figuring out how to get that answer.
Awesome. I love that. I love that you kind of have that open door policy, because then it makes it, well, A, convenient. If you're at the office and you've got a question, you can pop in and ask that
Mhm.
question. And it also shows agents that you're 100% there for them, that you're not just like all the
Yes.
time, unavailable. And so that's good. That's good. So if there's an agent out there that wants to explore Watson Realty, what would be their first steps?
Their first steps is
Mhm.
contact me. Like I said,
Okay.
you can call or text 314-737-3340. And I'll meet you wherever you want to meet. You can come here to attend one of our sales meetings. I always invite people to attend our sales meetings to really kind of get the vibe, see if this is what's going to potentially fit for
Mhm.
them. It may be a little bit overwhelming for them, but I don't want them to necessarily feel the overwhelmingness. I
Right.
just want them to really know what they're kind of getting into. And then we can just talk about what are their goals? What support system do they have? Because that's important too.
Actually, that's good. That's a good question to ask people.
I tell them right off the bat, you're not going to make money for the first 6 months. Well, hopefully they will. But realistically, if
Odds
they're
are.
kind of coming in deer in the headlights,
Mhm.
you're not going to make money for their first 6 months. Do you have somebody at home that's going to help support you so
Mhm.
that you can build your business and so that I can give you the right tools and give you the right path
Yeah.
so that in 6 months you're ready to go and
Correct.
you're ready to make money because that's what this is about. It's about helping
100%.
customers, yes. It's about building those relationships you already have, but really putting that out there that, "Hey, people, put your trust in me. I've got the tools and the support I need to make sure that your transaction goes flawlessly. But ultimately, come and get. You can trust me to help you sell your home or to find you your new home. And I have all the support behind me with Watson Realty and getting you to grow from that."
Right. Which is awesome. This was such a great conversation, and you did a great job breaking down what people really should be looking for if they're looking to get into real estate, choosing a brokerage, or if they've been in real estate and their brokerage just is not working for them anymore. I love that you really know what the red flags are that people should run from, what they should be going to. But before I let you go, I have one last question. So if you could give just one piece of advice to any agent who's unsure of where they belong, because there's a lot of them out there. I talk to
Right.
agents all day long. There's a lot of them out there. What would
Uh-huh.
that be?
I'm gonna give you 3, but
Okay, give
invest
me
in
three.
leadership that invests in you back.
Okay.
Choose the place that sees the future version of you.
Oh,
Again, you could be a school teacher or work from home mom, and now you're in real estate and having to be out there networking. So
yep.
choose that leader that will see the future of you. And
Okay.
then your split doesn't matter if you never split a check.
Ding, 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 ding. That is so true.
But we are competitive with our splits. I'm not telling you
Yeah,
we're not. I'm just
right.
saying, don't
Yeah, but
focus on
that
that split.
so it's so true. I have an agent out of Port St. Lucie,
Mhm,
and she was at an established agency similar to how Watson is. And she decided after she'd been I helped her do her very first deal 5, 6 years ago. And
mhm,
so then we've worked together ever since then. And about 2 years ago, she's like, well, I know what I'm doing now. So maybe I don't need this high training type
mhm.
agency to work with anymore. And I want to keep more of my money. So she moved from the agency that she was at and went to some new startup-y type brokerage. And she lasted about 6 months there. And she was like,
Mm,
I had no idea how good I had it. Well, because of the support, like she didn't
uh-huh.
realize, how much support she really was getting. So I think all of this information is so smart. Matter of fact, she went back to her original brokerage
Oh, wow,
because
yeah.
even though she knew so much more than she did when she first started, even though she had a client base, even though, she thought she could do it all on her own, she found out how much value is in having real leadership, real support, additional training. So I commend Watson Realty that you do that for your agents, and that's exciting. It's super exciting. So thank you so much for being on Homebuyer Hotspot today. I'm
Thank
Jennifer
you.
Fanning with Cross Country Mortgage for those of you who are listening in the audience. And if you want more information like this episode, please make sure that you like, subscribe, and share. And if you want to contact me for a mortgage loan, my number is 561-295-2005. I do specialize in people who own their own businesses that are small business owners. I've got lots of great products for you. So thank you for watching. And Amy, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.